Um, Let me tell you about my new job. Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys. So, let me see, I can move this a little better. Probably not. I got it all tweaked around there. And it's blurry. Anyway, I hope it straightens out here. Maybe not. Looks icky. It still looks icky, doesn't it? Man, my other vlog thing is broken, so I gotta use this. But anyway, let's see if I can get it to focus. It is acting really bad. Let me get it straightened out. It might be signal because I'm near the base. But anyway, so I gotta tell you, oh boy, oh boy. So, I had some bills coming up, and I was scared I wouldn't make them. And there's a few I didn't. And it's real scary. Okay, but it's my responsibility. Business has been slow on the internet. Bad, slow for a few weeks. So that's why I got scared. Thank you for the thumbs up. So I had started looking for work, a couple weeks ago. And, hitting a few places here and there in my travels. And I'm talking like everything. And even on JobStack, it's been bad. So there's like nothing on there. There were a couple jobs that were way out in Panama. And I really didn't want to do that because, one, the fuel. It's such a drive to get out there. Even though tourist season is like over now, it's still, there's still tourists that are actually here or have moved here. And so it makes that drive really long. And, when the car is under 55 miles an hour, it really burns a lot of gas. I get 9 miles a gallon, so, and that's typical for this vehicle because of the weight. But anyway, so I was surprised at this one store, and I really like their market. I really like their company for a lot of years. I've spent huge amounts of money with that company, and probably enough to buy a really reasonable house in the South before the pandemic. But anyway, I asked a girl at the counter, I said, "Are you guys hiring?" And she was like, "Actually, we really are." And I was like, "Oh." And, oh, it's a car club. Look. God, I wish you could see this, but my thing is goofed up. Let me try to move it. It's good thing the speed limit is slow right here. Like, you're not going to be able to see it. Isn't that terrible? But anyway, so, she says, as a matter of fact, we are. I said, well, like, how about a stalker? Yeah, I'm going for the lowest man on the totem pole jobs, you know what I mean? I don't care, and she goes, well, yeah, you can do that. But she's like, do you have any sales experience? And I'm like, yeah, like 100 years worth. As a matter of fact, a huge amount in retail. Huge, for other people. I'm not talking about just mine. I'm talking about, when I worked clothing in Beverly Hills and Century City and all that in California and Marina Del Rey. And I worked for, some of the top, clothiers and stuff. Miracle Mall District, well, I just keep naming them all. Even at Fox Hills Mall, which that probably doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know. Anyway, and I always worked for the top names because I was a fashion designer. That's what I went to school for, fashion design and merchandising. Because not just to buy their junk, but because they were good products. Although they were severely overpriced, they just were really good products. I don't like to sell any junk. You know what I mean? I don't know about you, but I like to be able to stand behind that product and have faith in selling it and not sell somebody a bunch of trash. And so, anyway, I don't think these guys are just going for a run. I think they're going to do a show because there's so many of them. But anyway, I think they're all Dodges. Anyway, and I was always top dog in sales. There's nowhere that anybody beat me. Only if it was like in the first couple of weeks of work, because once I got to know that merchandise and I knew everything about it, and studied it and studied it and studied it in the stores and stuff on the floor, um, and looking at the way they were sewn and put together and things like that, and studying the makers, like Tony Lama boots and things like this. Um, you know, I felt good as a seller because I knew my product and I know how to sell. I don't want to be like the bad car salesman, where they lie all the time. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it looks great when it looks like poop. I'm just not going to do that. And I worked with a lot of people that did just to make that sale. And I'm just not going to do that. And I had a lot of people come back because I was honest. Okay? I really did. So, anyway, I told her, I got like 100 years of experience in retail. I mean, on a sales floor. And I just kind of laughed. And she goes, really? And I said, well, really? I mean, very truly. I'm not joking. And she says, well, we're looking for a manager. I said, well, I don't know if we have to talk about it. I said, because I'm not doing that salary thing. No way, no how. And I'll tell you why. I don't care how much money they offer you. I'm just going to tell you, you can even sit down and figure it out by the hour and go, I might do it. And today, they're just going to mess you up. You end up getting checkers wage for salary when they get done with you. Years ago, it could have been profitable back then, but not today, because they will, work you to death. That's the problem. You take salary, and I'm trying to teach my youngest kid this. You take that salary and you commit to an open end of hours. That means if they want to work you 50 hours in a week, they can work you 50 hours in a week. If they want to work you 120 hours a week, they can do it and get away with it. They will abuse you, absolutely abuse you, and you're taking up all the slack for your crew. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad manager because you're taking up slack for your crew because they're not doing it right or whatever, or they're vacation or whatever they're playing around doing. The work ethics today just are not as good as they were years ago. People are just not responsible. They don't want to come to work. They don't want to do any job. They think they're being paid to take breaks all day long, and just lollygag around and not wear, parts of uniforms and whatever. So you're dealing with a much more difficult crowd. Now, I'm not going to say because they're all young, because that's not necessarily true. I was young and I was a hot dog. Okay? And there's others too that were as good as me that I came across that I was definitely in competition on the floor. Like we were, going by the hour, checking everybody's sales, going, well, let's see, they're $30 ahead of me. I better get 100 ahead of them. Because we would do that. Because you didn't want anybody like selling more than you. And not like you would get a bunch of raises, but a lot of places were only commission or commission versus payroll, or payroll and a short part of commission. And that's how you kept your job in retail. If you could sell, you were like God. They had total respect for you. Okay? If you could sell, you were it. Okay? And your job was made fairly easy. They didn't jack with you a lot. They just let you roll, and they roll out the red carpet when you come to work. They treat you really, really nice. A lot of respect. Because you're making that company a ton of money. You're making everybody look good. You're making the store manager look good. You're making the district man look good. You're like making the regional man look good. So, you know, it gets all these people raises. They like that. You know, especially when they don't have to ask. Because you're just good. Because you're trying, you know. To me, it's pretty natural. So it's not that I have to try too hard to do it. It's just a natural thing. You know, I've been in sales for a great many years. I mean, I even sold shoes. One time I went to go work for, I don't know what it was, Hush Puppy or Kenny or somebody in a mall years ago. I didn't even want that job. It wasn't clothes, you know. But I did it. I did it because they offered me a lot of hours, you know. And, you know, I figured I'd be able to learn it pretty good. But it's a pain in the butt job because you get these people that come in and they go, I wear a perfect size 6. And it's like a 400-pound woman, and you're looking at her foot going, no, it's not a size 6. And so you got to bring like size 9s because they're not fitting. And she's like, I'm telling you, I am a perfect size 6. And you're going, yeah, I know, you know, our shoes aren't, you know, made right. They're just really running small. You just tell them some crap. What on earth are you doing? All this traffic and they pull right out on the street. Dear gosh. So anyway, back to this story. So this girl, she's entertained by me, and she's really nice. Okay, and I'm kind of thinking she's older than me. I could be wrong. She's really, really nice. Very peaceful individual. So here come these cars again, and look, is that the man with the gun at the head? It could get interesting. You're not supposed to run with those green lights on the bottom like that. It's illegal in the States. I don't know what they do in Florida, but I know in Mississippi you don't want to be doing that. I know an older guy that got busted for that on the van. So anyway, they're actually stopping somebody over here. They had a sign out here with speed limit. Either that or it's a abandoned car and they got a ticket in. And then they'll tow it away in a couple days. So anyway, she says you gotta go to this website. And I said, okay, so it's not like applying for Walmart, because I did that a few years back, and it's like 42 pages of stuff. She looks and she says, well, no, it's not quite as bad as that. I said, okay, and I just kind of smiled. And I said, all right. She says, really, do it. And, you know, we'd love to have some experience. I said, okay. All right. I said, I really would just rather be a stalker. She says, no, you need to be a manager. I said, all right. So, I went over to my office, got on the computer. Okay, so it was like 38 pages, all right? Oh, crap. Man, I was like, no. And see, you don't even know because, you know, it doesn't, like, tell you all this in advance. It's like you step into that thing started. So, anyway, I get it all done. Gosh, about, oh my, I would say probably 8:30 at night, maybe. And I Xeroxed every page. I'm not kidding you. I did, really. Because I'm going to make sure I have record of everything that's there. And, you know, because maybe you go back in there and you can't find it all. So anyway, you know, I put all the Xeroxes in the envelope and everything. stuck it in the car, just in case I applied for something else. I could just use some of that resume stuff to go back on because here's why I don't do like a resume. I used to do that years ago when I learned how to do it, in high school. The problem with resume is when you go apply for a job, say you're applying to sell cars, you don't want to put on there, I worked at a grocery store, I worked at this, I worked at that. You need to put like all car stuff on there. Just like if you work in clothing, ready to wear clothing, you want to put clothiers, and I don't care if it's, a million years ago and you were 15, you want to try to keep to the subject matter. That way they can see what experience you have in their type of industry. If it's shoes, you put shoes. If it's entertainment industry, you put that. If it's, food and beverage, you put that. You try to keep to it. If not, you're going to have to list the last couple jobs you got because you don't have the experience. And you just tell them up front, look, I don't know. Don't lie to them because you're going to look stupid if you do. Be honest. Like, man, I've never done this before. Do you think that's a bad thing if I apply? And most companies are really open because really they would prefer to train somebody bare bones than to have somebody that's overtrained and doing it their way and they can never make them bend. You do get people like, I had bartenders like that. They were dinner house bartenders from the bartender school, and the bartender school were the worst bartenders to deal with. You could never change them. They just did their thing, their way, and it's like, dude, this is like a neighborhood cocktail lounge. We don't need all that. Just relax, be cool, and don't pour all the liquor, out the door for free, But anyway, so I had all that stuff and put it in an envelope, put it in the car. And so the next morning, I get this call, and I'm driving. I am not a text calling person in the car. I do have an intercom thing if I want to do that. But I need to like plug it in. And I just haven't fooled with it just forever. I can drive and YouTube vlog. And I can pretty well drive and carry conversation. I just don't. If that phone rings, I don't want to mess with it while I'm driving, and I'm not going to look at it unless it's a safe time to just even look and see who's there, because I can pull over and call them back, But anyway, so I get this weird call, and the title on the call is like I had dialed that number before. It was really strange. It already had a title in it. I'm like, and so I thought, well, maybe I better answer that. I don't know why I answered it, because normally I wouldn't, because the title didn't sound familiar, but I thought it was already entered in the phone. But now I got a new phone. It may be like reading labels. There's people there. I can't read it. If I can get stopped, I'll look, you guys, so don't be mad. I know you're there, and I love you. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. But anyway, so she calls me the other morning, and I was driving. I saw this thing on there, and I thought, probably better answer it. And it was like a business description that was not anything I applied for. But heck, it might be somebody calling me for work, that I know. So anyway, I answered it real quick. And then I pulled off the road immediately, the next place I could pull off. And it was a difficult gig, because I was making a left turn, but I was in the far right lane, because all those lanes turn left. But I was trying to safely get over to the side. I told them, I said, let me pull off the road real quick. And so I laid the phone down in the seat, watched the road, and pulled off. So I'm sitting in this parking lot now. It's starting to get really hot, There's still a little heat during the day. It's cooler in the evenings now because we're going into winter. So anyway, I'm talking with this girl. She seems real nice, and She's like, I'm from the such and such company. I said, oh, I didn't recognize when the thing came up. She said, oh, really? It came up like that. I said, yeah. And so she was calling from another phone, wasn't a corporate phone. So anyway, we talked for probably 45 minutes, actually. Kind of surprised, because a lot of times they don't want to talk to you too long on the phone. They just want to like set up an appointment so you come see them, and they don't want to answer a lot of questions because that's the way people do it. It's like you go to that interview and it's exactly what you don't want. But she was really great, and she's district man, and very open and honest. And she was telling me that she's having a lot of theft problem in the store. And I said, well, I had asked the person I talked to, yesterday, if it was like a full of drama kind of place, because I really don't want to do that. Places like that are not under control. And, I'm not there to babysit it or be there for the hard time. I don't need all that negative caca. You see what I'm saying? So, I'd rather not, stepped in what, fell back in it kind of thing. I'd rather avoid the negativity in my life. I got a lot of things going on. I don't need anything else to drag me down. So I say, do you not understand there's a little bit of drama over there? Like, honestly, how bad is it? And she says, it's really bad. I went, oh, joy. I said, well, I don't know. She said, well, that's my biggest problem with the store. She said, we got a lot of young people, and it is a serious problem. And I'm like, here we go. She says, my next biggest problem is I'm missing a lot of inventory. She says, that stock is just going out that door. I said, well, did you check the dumpster lately? That's the way they used to do it years ago. People that didn't even want to do nothing would offer to take the trash and boxes out, which is the worst job in the world. Nobody wanted to do that because, and when you're in retail, the trash place is so far from the store. It's a big problem because you got to have a cart or carry it out by hand, and you got to go, like walk miles for a camel. Just take that trash out. Nobody ever wants to do it, okay? But you would be surprised the jokers that all of a sudden come up with, so say, can I take the trash out? Yeah. And sometimes it's because they want to go have a smoke, because nobody's watching. They can take a couple minutes and come back and nobody's really missing it. And back then they didn't have these little phones and stuff. You could have a phone in your car, but you didn't have little phones. So anyway, so it wasn't to go out and play on the phone or anything. So anyway, I was like, did you check the trash lately? Because what would happen is, when that person wanted to take the trash out, for some reason, there would be all kinds of new merchandise in there. And I'm talking like a lot. Like pairs of shoes, boots, whatever, a whole carton of nail polishes, whatever. Just, you would be surprised the crap that goes out in the trash. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. They'll take it out, but they don't have the brains to call somebody and say, hey, I just dumped a bunch of crap out. Go get it. They'll wait till they get off work, and they'll drive their car over there, and they'll grab all this stuff out of the trash and throw it in their car. And then, like, sell it, whatever. That's usually how it's done, okay? Now, I know because I have gone into trash cans, okay, at stores and malls and stuff to get boxes or packing material for my shipping. Because you get it free and it's real clean. Man, I got a bunch of commercial hangers from like Beals or Burke's. They used to throw them out by the hundreds, those expensive clear hangers. Man, those are nice. And I like to use them from a retail store. So, and they're really expensive to buy. So, This guy got one on behind me. Boy, be careful. Got stopped for that a couple times. Thank God I didn't get a ticket. So uh, you know, my daughter and I, like we'd be going through these trash cans and stuff, trying to get, good, nice, fresh, clean boxes and, bubble wraps and things like that. And they're immaculate clean because they just unpacked, a delivery, okay? And if they have miles of it sometimes, and it's so cool. Packing peanuts, those are so expensive. Oh my gosh, I almost got this dick sucker. Amazing. Wow. Really fast. I've tried to get in on the setup of that store. Plus, I tried to work the construction site. That was a little late. And but anyway, they put that thing up so fast. So anyway, um, uh, I was telling her, I said, man, so anyway, when we got through some of the trash cans, we found stuff you could not believe. We did one over at it was like a Rexall drugstore, like a CVS or something like that, Rite Aid in Alabama. And let me tell you what, there was like packages that were still sealed, okay, um, of nail polishes. And there's like 60 bottles in there. We were pulling out of the trash can. No lie. There was all kinds of stuff in there. And so I went in the store and I told them, I went and got the manager. I said, I just want to let you know, like, there's a lot of this stuff. I mean, did you really want to throw it away? Because I don't want to be, like, stealing from you. And it turned out it was, an employee, doing the throwaway game. Okay. So, but you'll find all kinds of stuff. I'm not kidding you. You will find, boxes of brand new shoes. Nothing's wrong with them. You will find clothes, retail clothes with tags still on. Nothing's wrong with them. You would be surprised the stuff you'll see in a trash can. No lie. I mean, there's people doing YouTube videos about some crazy stuff to fill with trash. I don't know how much of that is true. But I'm going to tell you, you would be surprised at stuff that's in trash cans. You would be blown away. So anyway, let's see. I guess I've seen it in YouTube videos. My mom's old job would give them hangers for free. Yeah, if somebody are stingy, like if you ask them if you could keep the hangers, like, oh no, we've got to have them. Well, I'm gonna tell you, we used to have to switch the hangers in the high-end stores when they shipped to us. They would put them on cheap plastic, stick them on racks. That's how they moved them around. When they brought them in the store, they usually weren't in boxes, they were on racks. And we had cases of good crystal hangers, and we had to be back there changing all those clothes out from the cheap plastic hangers and put the nice crystal ones on there, And then we had to tag everything on top of the other tags because they'd have the merchandise tag, that came from the manufacturer. And then we had to put our, store brand on their tag with the price on it and all that. And we had to look at it, paper and everything, and look up the item number, the color. And pretty much you had to look at the color first because it was so hard to find, what the name of that dumb garment was. Because they always come up with some stupid name. It's like cars. They'll come up with some stupid name. And say you're taking the brand off like Toyota and Honda and all that, and you're just using the other names like Sienna or Accord, and so it'd be all this stuff with all these names, and you don't have a clue what that is. So you have to look at the color first, then go from there and try to figure out which one is which, so that you can put the proper tag on. It's real confusing the way they used to do it years ago. It's probably not that bad now, but most of it now, from this job I'm working, this stuff's already tagged. And it's in big giant boxes. And it's put in plastic. It's tagged and got hangers on it. It's all ready to roll. All you do is pull it out of this bag of a lot of like 10, and uh, like the corsets. You got like 10 of them in this bag, all one color, one style, and you take the baggie off, and it's ready to go on the rack. You don't have to, you know, like check it off on a list and tag it and change the hangers or anything. It's ready to roll. So it's amazing, how far they've come. God, if they'd have done that in the old days for us and just let us roll with it, but they were into prestige in these high-end stores. They had to do everything just right. But it'd have been saved so much time if they had all that stuff tagged, you know, with all the tags on it and ready to roll. So anyway, um, I told her, I said, "Man, you checked the trash can lately?" And she was like, "Huh?" I said, "That's where a lot of your merchandise will go. Is when the employees take the trash out, they take out your stock. If you got a lot of stock running out the door, it's in the past, in my experience, it's usually employee theft, and not floor theft. I mean, it's like really no floor could be that bad. That's the price." So she's like, "I need somebody that's not going to make friends with everybody and keep an eye." Like, I can do that. You know, I'm like the cop. I can watch everything without looking obvious. I know what's going on around me. So I'm like, "I'm game." She's like, "Well, great." She says, "You're hired." She says, "I'll make you a manager." I'm like, "Really?" And now we're like talking money. The money's kind of, you know, to me, it's kind of, not, it's way better than minimum wage around here, that's for sure. I mean, so I'm, trying to be polite, you know, but I'm still thinking it's so low. Because when you accept manager or assistant manager, anything like that, it comes with a whole bunch of responsibility. And a lot of times, like if you end up being an assistant manager, you end up doing all the manager's job because they're going to lay all that crap on you because they don't want to do nothing. And that's not cool either. Manager should do manager job, assistant manager should do assistant manager job. Because these guys get paid more over there, in these places. That's how it goes. It's always you get more pay as you up the scale. It's not the way they treat it nowadays. But anyway, so I said, "Well, uh, she said, "Can you meet with me today?" I said, "Okay, give me a time." And bear in mind, this is in the morning. This girl had called me, and we had like 45-minute conversation. And we were eye to eye for sure on this conversation. It's real smooth. Real smooth. I got all the info I needed. You know what I mean? It was amazing. So, anyway, I said, "Give me time." She says, "3." Okay. I can do it. So I'm there at 2:30. Always be early. Early to your shift, 15, 20 minutes. And if you're doing an interview, be early because it's impressive. Even if you have to wait around. Usually you don't. They prefer you came early. And you'll catch them in a good mood, on time. You know what I mean? That first impression's super important. So, it's like you're buying respect. So anyway, uh, you don't want to go in there and go, I had a flat tire, the dog peed on the floor, and my French fries were cold. You know what I mean? You don't want to go in with all that drama and keep it nice. So anyway, uh, I'm in there at 2:30. I see this girl I saw the other day who was real nice. And she says she's not here. I'm like, "Okay. Well, I'll just wait." And she says, "We sent her a couple messages and called her already, and we've not heard anything like in hours." I went, "Oh." She said, "Did you hear anything?" I said, "Well, no. She's got my number. And she called me from her you know, phone, apparently. I'm thinking. And she's like, yeah, probably. Um, it's okay. So, you know, I'm hanging out outside the store. I'm still hanging out. And still hanging out. You know, I, I walk in there, at 3 and ask the girl again, is she here yet? No. We still haven't heard from her. I'm like, oh. So, well, I'll just wait a little longer. So, I'm hanging out. I'm hanging out, outside the store, still hanging out. After about an hour and a half goes by, she comes out, this girl that I had talked to. She's really nice. And she's standing there talking to me. You can tell she's embarrassed as hell, right? And she says, I'm just going to tell you, this is kind of a common thing. And it's like you'll never know when. She said, did she talk to you or sent you a message? I said, no. She said, well, we can't get a hold of her either, except she said that, she wasn't far. And that was, like a little while ago. And I just wanted to let you know. And I'm like, oh my. She said, yeah. And it's like I was reading this girl's mind, okay? I said, well, she said, well, I mean, if you want, you can go. It's just, I mean, up to you. I just hate to see you having to wait, because hell, it was already like another hour and a half after. This chick still hadn't shown up. I'm supposed to be the district man. So I said, okay. So I leave and go, work, at my other job, okay? With my business. I'm doing that. And I thought, well, surely this chick's going to be sliding in the door any moment. Nope. For hours. And I didn't want to go far away in case she showed up. So, hours, like right before the store closed, I run over there. And I said, is she here yet? And they're like, yeah, that's her right there. I said, oh. And then I went up and said hello. She's real nice, very meek and mild, very soft spoken. And she says, great, you're here. And I'm like, in my head going, great, I'm here. This girl told me 3 o'clock, But I didn't say anything. This stuff's rolling in my head, right? So, she says, she told me a lot of stuff on the phone that you wouldn't discuss inside the store. You don't want people hearing it. You know what I mean? She's got a problem with employees in there. You don't want to be talking about that in that store. Because somebody, is going to have big ears and be telling the whole crew. You got to be very, very careful. Because she's telling me stuff that her crew's trash. You know what I mean? You don't want to be discussing that in the store. So I looked at her and I said, did you want to, maybe like go outside here and do our discussion out there? She's, that's a good idea. Okay. I'll wait for you up there. So she comes, and this guy's with her. And he does not look like anything managerial or anything like that. He looks like, the biker dude kind of thing. And he's real nice though. And then he's like talking back and forth to her, and he's like, I guess I'll go get something to eat. And like I hadn't even had anything to eat like for a couple days, so so anyway, he goes and orders some food at this restaurant nearby, and he brings it back over and sits next to us and eats that food, right? And I'm trying to sit here and figure this out, okay? I'm trying to figure this one out. Anyway, he was there the whole time I did, the rest of my so-called interview, whatever. And she and I were good. And then, she says, well, I'm sorry I'm late. And she says, but I had this tire thing. I needed 2 front tires really bad. So I went ahead and I stopped, Destin Walmart. Oh, I mean, now Destin Walmart. If you want to go get a tire over there, you're talking 5 hours. So, I'm telling you right off top. I know from experience. I love those people, but 5 hours the last time I was over there and let them put a tire in my car. Um, but anyway, so and that was like 6 months ago. So anyway, I went, oh, okay. But don't you think she would have like sent me a message or called me and said, I really needed to get these tires and I didn't think it'd take this long or something? Don't you think she would have done that? Especially at 3 o'clock was the agreed meeting time. But no, you know, and she didn't even, call the store and let them know. But they said that's common of her. Yes, I've seen YouTube video. So trying to read the comments. They don't stay up very long. So anyway, um, uh, she was pretty nice, and I got to ask any question in the book. Probably one of the neatest interviews I'd actually been on, except for the dude eating the food and stuff, and talking conversation back and forth with her and stuff. That I didn't think was apropos. Um, and I worked for a grocery store before. A lot of good stuff gets thrown away. Yeah, one of you made me wait 45 minutes. They didn't have anyone scheduled for my interview. Oh, mother God. I've never had problems getting an interview. Unless you're on the spot, like at a dinner house or something, they get all pissy, like, this is not the time. You know. If you ever look for work, don't ever go at like lunchtime or dinner time. Those people, they've got freaking samurai swords waiting for you. Always make sure to go like when it's cooled down a little before or after because they will blow a head gasket. They just think you're the total jerk. I don't care how much experience you got and how good you look. You want to piss them off right off the top at the beginning of the start and not be able to get the job, go in there at lunchtime or dinner time. They will just go crazy. Um, that's just food and beverage. They just funny like that. Um, but so anyway, I got to ask every single question you could think of, things that were very important. I mean, you're in my head. And I even brought paper and pen so I could take notes, and there was not really a whole lot I had to write. So we just were eye to eye talking, and I mean, she and I had terrific understanding. It was really quite nice, but I couldn't get over how peaceful she was. She wasn't like obnoxious, stern, a jerk. A lot of these people are when they get that managerial type position. Now she's district man. They can be really. I knew a couple in the clothing industry that were district men, and they were just the worst. They were like so Hitler. And it made you wonder how they got along in life because they're so damn mean. If they were just pretending that for the job, or they're just plain mean like that because it seems like a natural. And they don't have to be that mean. We're just workers. You know. So anyway, and trying to work a job and be a nervous wreck because your management is just not the way to go. And I will tell anybody, if it's crappy, get away. There's a million other jobs. Just get away from it. It's not worth it. Okay? I told my daughter that, If it's such a problem, management's not doing anything, and you go over management to the next one, chain of command, get away from it. If they're not going to fix it, get away from it because it's not worth hanging around. And it's not worth, the stress. Forget it. You can work all kinds of other places. And there's a million jobs in the world. Forget it. Well, other people say, oh no, you should be on one job for like almost all your life. Well, it doesn't always happen that way. I'm going to tell anybody, if it's crappy, get away. You don't have to put up with that. That crap will destroy your nervous system. But anyway, so there's other places you'll find where people just love you, love you, love you, love you. Can't wait till you come back. They'll really appreciate it. So anyway, she says, so do you have any questions? I went, nope. She says, you don't? I said, nope. I said, I think I totally understand you, see where you're coming from, and all the facts that I needed. I think I'm okay. Uh, she said, well, great. She said, okay, now here's what I need you to do. I need you to go back on the website, and there's some other paperwork you need to do on there. It'll send you an email. Okay. And then your security clearance thing. And I've done that before. I've done a lot of that in the past, especially in the clothing industry. They were very strong with that years ago. And if you didn't pass it, you weren't working. I've done drug tests, like working for the casinos and all that other stuff. And even in clothing, some of them will drug test you. I'm cool with that. I don't know if the drug testing is legal anymore, though, today. I could be wrong. Um, but I believe it's illegal for them to drug test anymore. Not like I'm doing drugs or drinking, because I don't. I quit that years ago before I had kids. But anyway, and I was no big addict or anything. I was just partying. I'm not gonna lie to you. So anyway, I said okay, and she seemed to be kind of business, but she's just sweet. She's very soft spoken, and she's like all of like 75 pounds. Um, Dressed very casual, even with like flip flops on. I was kind of surprised. I've never met with a manager that was dressed so casual. Kind of like you're going to do laundry. Casual. Okay. It was odd. Um, I mean, what do you do? Usually they wear a company shirt or they dress, you know, very business. Blue collar dressing type thing. Nope. So, and then her husband, the guy turned out to be her husband, and he was like with us the whole time. And I thought that was odd because I've never been interviewed like that before. You know, they should have been inviting me to dinner and we all hang out at dinner together or something and doing the interview if you're gonna do that. 'Cause it just seems strange. I don't know. Maybe I'm a jerk. I just never have had done that before. But I was cool with it. I was just trying to figure it out. It's like looking confused. Like the deer with the headlights or whatever. I just thought it was interesting. I was wondering how the rest of the interview was going to go. Um, but anyway, it was okay. I just hold my breath. Anyway, so I went back to my office and there was an email that said, welcome, you've been hired. Pretty interesting, that fast how it runs. And I clicked on that as she had told me to do. Went back into the website, did my password, all that. And it has like all this stuff you gotta do. Oh no. And there's like 10 things you gotta do, and you gotta do every one of them and check them off as you go. I'm like, oh, this sucker is gonna take hours. So I stayed and did that till almost 10 o'clock at night. So I would say hour and a half, 2 hours of doing all this other stuff you got to read and certify and sign and acknowledge and all this stuff. Um, and and it was just like all in little chapters kind of thing of stuff. And like some company policies and some not like a total handbook, but just all kinds of different stuff. And then do you authorize him for like a drug test or something? I was like, yeah, okay. Did that. And I copied all those too. I Xeroxed every one. And some other stuff. And now the big thing is the arbitration contract, and that's so bull crappy because they don't want to get you suing them, so they will try to get you to sign a document before you start, so they can do anything they want to you. You know what I mean? They throw swords at you, and freaking, you have to put up with it, and then you can't sue them. That's some weird new thing they do. I don't think that's even legal, because if someplace does you bad, you should have the right to sue them. But anyway, so I did all the paperwork, Xeroxed it, and everything, and added it to my stack of stuff and put it in that big envelope that I had. It was actually shipping envelope. I just stuck it all there so I keep it safe and waterproof. And so, um, she'd give me my schedule for, like coming tomorrow. It's such and such time. I mean, that fast. Boom. So, I did all the paperwork, went to go get some sleep, hope to God I got enough sleep. And then, got ready in the morning and went over there. And she said she would be there at opening. She wasn't. As a matter of fact, she didn't come until almost closing and didn't call anybody or text or nothing. And they started telling me, that's really typical with her. And I'm like, oh no. I'm not a fan of flaky people. I'm sorry. You know, I'm really one for being on time and being precise. And, in business, that's what I expect. Other than the fact, people that get paid the money they do for these upper end jobs, they should be really doing the jobs. Um, because it makes it so much easier on the people below the ladder. It's like throwing somebody into a job that they don't know what they're doing in upper management, and you go, why did they put that person there when they have no experience? Um, it's that kind of feeling. So that's why it's so hard to move up the ladder because they want you to have experience. It's like most jobs are making you start at the bottom, work your way through the levels of management. Then you might be able to be a district manager if you're really lucky. And then you might be able to be a regional manager if you're really lucky. And then you might be able to be like a CEO of the company. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just done that way, chain of command, up the ladder. So, anyway, um, she finally shows up like an hour before closing. And everybody was waiting on her. And so, she's real sweet and nice. And, you know, everybody was telling me, that she needs to give you your employee number. I'm like, okay, and what does that part do? They said, well, that's how you get clocked in, because they clock in on the computer screen or the cash register screens, like that. Well, so I have to go to another member of management to have them, like, sign me in or something. It's so bad, I found out today. It's so bad without the employee number that they just have me sitting on there with no name, no number, nothing. And they're like, that's supposed to be you. I'm like, what? Okay. So, I'm still writing all my stuff down, like my hours and my little 5-minute breaks, whatever. One of the second day I had worked, I had said to this girl that's like a manager, I guess there, the same one that, I had originally visited with, it was real nice. I assumed she was a manager. And I said, so exactly like, because they were scheduled me for 8-hour shift. So I said, how is the, your breaks and your lunches go? She said, well, you get, one break and it's 30 minutes and it's off the clock. Okay. Now, in my day, it's like you get one lunch and you get so many 10 or 15-minute breaks, depending on how many hours you work. And it depends on the state you work too, because there's like different everywhere, I think. I may be wrong. But, most of my beginning work was like in California. So I was real good about knowing, you know, all the different rules and regulations from the, equalization, all that crap. So anyway, what time is it? I gotta go to the store real quick. I'm going to do a part 2 on this one because you guys are going to love it. Okay. I'll be right back. I love you.